Hi, my name is Nicole Dextras and I'm an environmental artist. I was the type of kid that would draw all the time. I was always putting on shows at school, getting all my friends involved in putting on a play, and loved dress up, all of those kinds of things. And I think everybody thought that I was going to be an artist, but by the time I got to high school, I wasn't really sure I wanted to be an artist because I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself. And so I delayed going to art school for many years. But after working a lot of mech jobs of, not really fitting in anywhere else, I thought, well, I am an artist. Maybe I should do this. And that's when I went to Emily Carr College of Art. I came to environmental art late in my career. I was doing sculpture and photography. And I was trying to meld those two mediums together, which was very difficult. And I was inspired by other artists who were environmental artists like Andy Goldsworthy, the old school of environmental art, where they can create things and also photograph them and document them as part of the work too. And I have a real strong desire to talk about the idea of change in my work. And that's what environmental art does. It talks about the process of time and how things will change. So, and for me, it's about accepting that change. So it actually is more like a philosophy of my life too. So environmental art bridges all these things for me where I can create a whole variety of work. The types of materials that I look for are ones that are organic. The basis for my work is that you could wear it and you could compost it. The materials that I use are often things that I've gathered in the local landscape, and sometimes they're the inspiration for what I'm going to make. Sometimes I'll see a leaf or a flower and I'll go, oh wow, that looks just like the ruffle of a skirt or something. And that spawns this whole sort of, linkage of ideas that then leads me to creating one of my pieces. The Weedrobes theme started years ago with me wanting to make things with natural materials that were wearables. And I had to go through a whole learning curve with that because there are no books that'll tell you how to do that. I had to do a lot of experimenting. So in the years of experimenting, I've also developed the whole concept of Weedrobes. And it's not just about, you know, making a pretty dress or making something that's very sort of unique and interesting looking. It's also that I've incorporated now ideas about the future and where we're going with our consumer society. And so I have another series called Urban Foragers, and they forage for food. And these are actual skirts and whole outfits that you can wear. But they're also your food source, and you can sleep in them. So I'm taking these ideas much further now. What I do is I make an armature first. So I make something that, because I used to sew and I used to make costumes, I know how things are put together. So I make almost like the underneath of it, not out of cloth, but out of different materials. Like I use a rope that's called seagrass, which is actually grass that comes from the sea and it's twined like a rope. And it's completely natural. I also use basketry materials to create maybe the underarm and things like that, make it a little bit stronger. And then once I've got the whole armature in, I put in the things that'll last a long time, like the leaves, which I often hold together with thorns. And then the really fresh materials like the flowers are the things I add last because I want them to be good for if it's the performance or the photo shoot or whatever. I don't throw anything out. So garment after performance goes usually into my backyard or into my studio, and then it dries out, decomposes. I like to film and document the piece as it keeps changing, and document the little spiders that are starting to grow in there, and yeah, and then it sort of becomes part of the landscape. Storefront Objects of Desire was in a shopping mall, and that was great because the audience were actual shoppers. This was first shown at the Lansdowne Shopping Center in Richmond, and I was an artist in residence there. And what I did was I created pieces that were in the windows and also did performances that were in the atrium where the windows faced. The pieces consisted of pieces that I had made. The ones that were in the window were pieces that I had made that relate to fashion because they are objects like shoes and dresses, handbags, headdresses, different kinds of things. But they're made out of natural materials, so you can't really wear them and you can't really buy them. They are somewhat wearable in the sense that you could wear it maybe for a day or a special occasion, but you know, some of the things are completely not wearable, like some of the shoes that have thorns on them. You basically can't wear those. My work is interested in supporting things like slow fashion and eco fashion, which are new trends today, and I know that designers, young designers that are working in that realm today have a hard time breaking through because we live in such a commercial world that they have to compete with things that are made overseas that are very cheap. So to make things by hand is now a real struggle in our world. So those are some of the things that my work also talks about. So that's one of the reasons why I keep it in the context of fashion, because I'm trying to reach out to that idea. Some good advice that I got when I was first in art school was find what your passion is. And now that sounds maybe trite, but the thing is that find out what really, really excites you, and then work with that and go with that and push that to the limits. The other thing is to not be afraid to get your hands dirty. Making art is not at all like working on a computer. It takes a lot of physical interaction with materials that often don't work. You have to start over again. You know, you think this was a good idea, a year later you look, oh no, I should have done it this way. So it takes a lot of persistence and a lot of hard work.